Let's switch gears a bit and look at the God question from a Catholic perspective. Are they any better than the typical things we look at? Do they have a more intelligent case? Are you really serious? Because, yeah, we all know that they don't. In fact, they might even be worse. So let's go take a look. Typically around here, I will look at videos from a Christian Protestant point of view. And that's not by choice, it just seems that they're a lot more common. But today, I've got a video from the Archdiocese of Kansas City in Kansas, which honestly sounds a bit repetitive, asking the simple question, can we prove God exists? Well, that's a good question. Can you? Let's see you do it. I'm not going to be holding my breath though, but by all means, give it the old college try. So, away we go.
Chapter 1. Man is receptive to God.
Now, just to get this out of the way, this whole thing is done from their deaf office and is mostly done in sign language, which of course is entirely fine and definitely helpful for any of their deaf viewers. So please excuse what's going on screen and just listen to the dubbed-in voice. I'm an equal opportunity critic. I'll go after absolutely anyone. I just wanted to get that out of the way before somebody says something. So, you say that man is receptive to God. Do explain.
Question 3. Why do we seek God?
Hold on. Are we missing a few things? Because I don't remember getting to questions 1 and 2. Now that's not really that surprising. I know I've done videos where they started on part 3 and never did parts 1 and 2. Or at least they never uploaded them. I don't know, I just watch this crap, I don't make it up. So we'll just go with it, I guess. Now, I have to ask, why do you think that we seek out God? I know that some people do, and I can explain why I think that they do, but that's certainly not a given for everyone. I don't seek out God. I seek out reality. If God can be proven to be a part of reality, fine, I can accept that. After all, that is the name of your video, right? Can we prove God exists? I don't know. Give it a shot. But don't expect me to play your game until you've actually done so.
God has placed in our hearts a longing to seek and find Him.
Says who? Because this is not proof. This is a bald assertion for which you have no actual evidence. I don't care if it comes from your catechism. I don't care how much you believe it. I care if it is demonstrably so. Got any evidence? No, I'm sure you don't because you never do. This is all based on faith, not facts. And faith doesn't impress me. I'm not sure why you think it impresses anyone. I sure as hell don't know why it impresses you. You sure got to do better than this.
We call this longing for God religion.
You call it religion, I call it delusion. And based on the definition for those terms, I'd say I'm a lot closer to the truth. Because in order for that to be at all reasonable or rational, it must be demonstrable. And isn't that what we're here to see? You demonstrating that your God is real. That's in the title after all. Why do I get the feeling that you're going to completely ignore that bit, pretend you've already done it, and just stroke the egos of the believers? Because that's really all we ever see, right? And that's kind of disappointing.
Have you ever experienced seeking something, desiring something like food, but not feeling satisfied? Or desiring relationships, but still that doesn't satisfy completely? That feeling inside, that desire for total satisfaction, can only be fulfilled by God.
Sure, but that doesn't prove that a God exists. And while we're at it, which God? Why that God? Why not invisible, intangible, universe-creating pixies? It's a fair question to which these people never have a fair answer. They simply want us to accept their proposition without demonstrating that their proposition is remotely true. And it's why all of these videos feel like they're starting in the middle of an argument. Like they showed all of the intelligent stuff at the beginning and they just never got back to it. At least that's what I'm sure they'd like to think. Maybe that's why they started at question 3, when we really want to see what they said with question 1, the actual proof that they are right.
He is the one who supports us completely, and we serve him with our whole heart. Religion is the relationship and encounter with the divine, who is our creator, who made everything, including us.
And how do you know any of that? I mean, honestly, where does that come from? Because that sounds a lot like delusion, not evidence. I'm not interested in your delusion. I don't care what conclusions you've reached for emotional reasons. I care how you've intellectually demonstrated that the things that you believe are actually true in factual reality. And it's kind of amazing that they never actually do that, right? Because that's what we ask for. Proof, evidence, something that we can examine on our own to see if it actually supports your conclusion. And instead, they just offer bald rationalizations and emotional platitudes and empty claims for what they believe. It just has to be true because it makes them feel good. And I don't care how you spin it, it's still dumb.
He is the only one who can completely satisfy us.
So, God is good in bed? Is that what you're trying to say?
Therefore, we should honor and depend on him completely.
And where is your evidence for that? Now, I know I'm starting to sound like kind of a broken record, but that's because they keep spouting the same level of religious nonsense over and over and over. What's really going on here is an attempt to define their God into existence instead of demonstrating that their God is really there. Because to them, they don't really care if their God is there. It's just a placeholder for their wishes and their dreams. It's a way to make themselves feel better, whether it's real or not. This is not impressive to anyone with a brain who cares more about the truth than they do about their emotions. I guess we can reasonably accept that the Catholics are no better than the Protestants and call it a day, right? Oh wait, there's more?
Question 4. Can we know the existence of God by our reason?
Oh good, this is why we're here. So everybody get ready, pay attention, sit up straight, because we're finally going to get the answers that we've always wanted. Get ready, here it comes.
Yes, human reason can know God with certainty.
And you notice that the only source they ever have for this is their silly catechism, right? Someone wrote it down and we like it, so it must be true. Except that doesn't prove anything. It shows that you have an article of pure faith that insists that it must be true based on your feelings, but you've never actually gone out to verify it for yourself. Because your book tells you that it's a sin to have doubt or to insist on proof of anything, because it's all got to be faith. That seems to be quite at odds with the title of your video, doesn't it?
The world did not create itself. Rather, the origin of the world is from God.
Nor did anyone say that it did. But that doesn't mean your imaginary friend created it, or that your imaginary friend exists at all. We're looking for the data that bridges that gap, that shows that your deity actually exists and was actually responsible for the things that you claim that he was responsible for. Yet, you people can never manage to provide that data, can you? And that's a problem, and it's one that you refuse to acknowledge. I don't care what it says in your book. I care what you can prove. I care what you claimed you could prove. Get to work.
Goodness, truth, and beauty are attractive, as opposed to sin and evil.
If sin and evil are not attractive, then why is there so much of them in the world according to your side? How many times have we heard that we're atheists because we like to sin? Hold on, make up your mind. Either sin is attractive or it's not. Pick one.
Goodness, truth, and beauty are attractive, because it is what connects us with God.
Bald assertion, unsupported by any evidence whatsoever. We can all do that. Linguini exists because it's what connects us with the flying spaghetti monster. But that's actually a pretty dumb idea, isn't it? Anything that we can arbitrarily declare to be good exists because of some entirely unconnected cause that we favor way over there. Because you haven't shown that these things have any actual connection. Correlation in your mind is not causation in reality. You actually have to demonstrate the connective tissue, and you haven't done so, nor will you, because this isn't based on intellect, it's based on emotion.
Question 5. Why do people deny that God exists if they can know him by reason?
Well, because you completely screwed up the last question. Okay, let's be honest. They've screwed up absolutely everything, but they did a particularly terrible job on the last try. I don't think they understand what reason is, so let's help them out. It is the ability to think, understand, and form judgments by a process of logic. And there is no logic whatsoever in what she had to say before. None at all, because logic requires evidence. It requires being able to draw demonstrable conclusions based on a reasonable understanding of the facts. Yet the religious have no facts. They only have feelings and an over-reliance on emotional comfort. So the religious are, by definition, not reasonable, logical, intellectual people. Don't forget that.
To know the invisible God is a great challenge for the human mind.
Again, because it says so in their book. Not because they can demonstrate that this so-called invisible God is real in the first place. To know invisible, intangible, universe-creating pixies is a great challenge for the human mind. Except that sentence means absolutely nothing rationally. This is really just the religious proclaiming victory by starting the race at the finish line. They never have to go through any of the hard work of proving that they have the slightest clue what the hell they're talking about. I mean, why bother? They're right after all. Just ask them. They'll be happy to tell you that they've got it all right and everybody else has it all wrong. Except absolutely none of it works that way. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you believe. I don't care about your fanatical, farcical faith. I care what you can prove in the real world with objectively demonstrable evidence. Try getting some of that. We'll wait.
Many are scared off by it.
No. Many are scared of having to deal with a potentially uncomfortable reality, which is why they insist on living in a comforting fantasy land in their heads. The truth is the truth, whether you like it or not. We have intelligent means of discovering what the truth is, or at least what it's most likely to be. But that's not how the religious operate, is it? Because they're not really concerned. Because reality is scary, so these people hide in their religious safe spaces and stick their noses into their religious books of choice and turn off their brains. Because, who needs a brain anyhow? It gets in the way of their faith.
Another reason why some do not want to know God is because they would then have to change their life.
Oh, right, we're back to atheist loving sin again. I knew that would crop up eventually. I'm not going to point out that they've already said that absolutely nobody does that because, when it's convenient to their cause, they'll change their tune in a second. This is rationalization, not rationality. There's a massive difference, and they have no clue what it is.
Anyone who says that the question about God is meaningless because it cannot be answered is making things too easy for himself.
We don't say that. It isn't meaningless, it's just irrational. It's you people who are making things too easy on yourselves. You stop caring if the things that you believe for emotional reasons have any application in objective reality, because to you, it's unimportant. So long as you feel good, you can buy into anything. You don't have to back up any of your claims, you only have to believe. Whereas the rest of us actually care what's true before we put our belief in it. So it's put up or shut up. And you people don't know how to do either.
Question 6. Can we grasp God at all in concepts? Is it possible to speak about him meaningfully?
Not really, because God isn't a concept. God is an entity, at least according to most religious people. Now, if you had just said that God is a concept and he's not really there, he doesn't care if you have faith in him, there's no heaven or hell, nobody created the universe, this is just an idea that we'd like to think about and we actually want you to do it as well. Okay, I can buy that. I may or may not accept your concept, but that's a whole lot more rational than what you're doing now. It's like a very vague deistic type belief. There is something out there somewhere. You don't really know what it is. It doesn't care if you worship it, but it makes you feel good to believe it, so that's what you're going to do. But that's not what theists are doing, is it? They're saying that there is this entity out there that actually exists, that actually made everything, that actually demands your adoration, and that will punish you or reward you forever based on how much you believe any of this unsupported crap. And that's just stupid. Sorry, it just is.
Although we men are limited, and the infinite greatness of God never fits into finite human concepts, we can nevertheless speak rightly about God.
And how do you know that? I mean, honestly, we keep coming around to this in every single video. How the hell do you people know any of the things that you claim to know about your magical man in the sky? Because it says so in a book that you like? So what? It says things in other religious books too, but you don't believe those. There's lots of books out there that say lots of different things. You don't believe those, do you? Or how about this one? Do you believe this? It's a book, after all. Actually, the version that I have sitting on my shelf. What's wrong with this book? Or maybe that's not old enough for you. How about we go back to the Egyptian Book of the Dead? Why don't you believe that? How have you proven that your book is more reliable than these others? And the answer is, you haven't, because you just don't care. And when you think about it, that's just pathetic.
Humans can never fully comprehend God. However, in order to help us understand him better, we have pictures and images and our own human experience we apply to God.
Wait a minute. You think you have actual pictures of God? Not drawings from the Middle Ages, but actual images? Where might these be? Because I'd like to see those. Of course, this is going to turn into more look at the trees nonsense, won't it? And human experience? Yeah, what human experience? Something weird happened to me, so I'll pretend God did it. Except that's stupid. Why God? Why your God? Why any God? Why not aliens? Why not delusion? Why not brain malfunction? Why does your God get an automatic pass? Oh, right, because reality doesn't matter to you people. Not one bit.
For example, sometimes God the Father is portrayed with a large white beard. But God doesn't literally have a white beard. We don't know because we have never seen him face to face.
But we've supposedly seen his ass in Exodus 33 to 34. So where are the pictures of God's butt? Why didn't Moses paint a mural? Why don't we have a sketch of the holy asshole? Oh, right, because it never happened. None of this ever happened. It's all made up.
Over the centuries, people have tried to create art and various images to help us understand God better.
No, to show what they have in their heads, to show how they visualize your imaginary friend. There's a difference. It's why all of the European artists painted Jesus as a white guy, and there's no way in hell that that's true, assuming there ever was a Jesus in the first place. It doesn't matter how many artist renderings you have. It doesn't make your God any more real, any more than pictures of Harry Potter make Harry Potter real. Surely even you understand this, right?
This is a process that will continue as we seek to understand God more fully.
Sure, it's more crap that the delusional will engage in because they are, in fact, delusional. And this happens at mental hospitals all the time. Inmates will draw pictures of the crazy things in their heads, and it doesn't make any of it real. You know, it occurs to me that, if anything, this was even worse than the crap spewed out by Frank Turek and William Lane Craig, and before seeing it, I would have found that pretty hard to believe. This really comes down to, I want to believe it, therefore it's true, therefore I've proven it, therefore you're wrong. And yeah, that is just as stupid as it sounds. Now, I don't know if any of this is the official position of the Catholic Church, although this does come from an actual archdiocese, so I would assume that they have to at least follow a lot of official Vatican teachings, or maybe not, I don't know. It's all stupid no matter what, and that's pretty universal across all religious lines. These people have problems. Serious problems. And nobody cares if you notice. This video has been out since January, and as of the time that I'm making it, there are 0 comments and 0 ratings. So I guess it's completely unremarkable, and that's because it's entirely devoid of any kind of intelligence whatsoever. But honestly, what else is new? Because this isn't about intelligence, it's about protecting their emotional comfort and believing things that make them happy. It doesn't matter if it's all a load of absurd BS. It makes them feel good, so they're going to believe it no matter how dumb it is. Seriously, how do people get to be this stupid? How do they remain this dumb in the face of overwhelming evidence that every bit of the things that they believe are meaningless? It simply is beyond my comprehension.